Hi friends, coming to you again from the great outdoors. Get back for another video today. I entitled this one, I gotta look, my paper, it says Mind Shift Change. One thing I did that changed my whole world, it broke it wide open. The thing I learned was, I learned to watch people's feet and not watch their mouth. It was funny, yesterday I talked about I'm a lip reader when it comes to reading because I couldn't read anybody with a mask. So now it's watch their feet, not what they say. So when I started doing that, my whole world changed wide open. And you'll see today as you notice it, that if you watch what people do as opposed to what people say, it's a whole different thing. So I'll give you an example. I do a lot of reading on millionaires and billionaires, and I heard years ago that no millionaire and billionaire ever buys a house that doesn't have a library in it, because leaders are usually readers and they need a place for their books, and I'm a reader, so I was like, oh, awesome. So they never buy a house that doesn't have a library in it or doesn't have a place for a library. So that's watching people's feet and not what they say. Reading is important. Reading every day is very, very important. The other thing I saw is there's a lot of people that are millionaires, billionaires, politicians, influential people in our world that say one thing and do the opposite. So when I learned to watch what their feet do, I started making those decisions too. Another example is a lot of most influential people do not send their kids to public schools. They always will send their kid to a Montessori school or I can't think of the name of it. It's not Warford School or Montessori School, where it teaches you how to think. They don't teach you what to do, they teach you how to think. And if you know how to think and problem solve and have all those logic and reasoning skills and be able to find out answers by yourself, then you can pretty much, the whole world is your oyster, because you know how to think, not what to think. So people that make our decisions for us want us to do X, Y, and Z, when in actuality, in their real life, they do something totally different. So as I'm watching what they do, not what they say, that's what I do. That's why we're a homeschooling family. I get complete freedom over what we learn, how we learn. I'm teaching Ellie the love of learning, the love of reading, as opposed to read and to do worksheets. I teach her how to think so she can, like we talked again in the videos, I'm the best problem solver I know. Ellie says that every day too. She's the best problem solver she knows. Have those logic and reasoning skills, those figuring things out skills. We just had an example today with one of our lessons we did. I didn't have something printed double-sided because that's how it worked better when you cut it out and put it together. Mine were all single-sided, and I cut it out, and I said I don't have to worry about wasting this. We can figure out how to treat this like it was printed double-sided and it's single-sided. And guess what? We folded it, we stapled it away a different way, and we learned and we used our brain to figure out how we could make this booklet work, even though we had done it wrong because it was printed singly instead of doubled. Another example of things that people say. There's a lot of leaders out there, and a definition of a leader is just somebody with influence, which is funny because we live in a land of influencers now. So technically they're leaders, even though they're not really leaders, but they have leadership because they have influence. They tell you to buy XYZ products because they're getting paid for that company to do that, when they actually don't feed that crap to their kids. That sugar-filled junk of things, you'll watch again. Look at millionaires and billionaires. They may be investors and owners of companies, but that's not the stuff that their family eats day in and day out. It's just how they made their money. That also goes with me. I don't align with anybody and take money from anybody that doesn't align with what we believe with our morals and values of things. Let's think of another example of watching people's feet versus what they say. We got the education one. I think it can almost be with anything. You could do that in your workplace too. Like people, Ellie and I were just talking about this today. We were talking about different phrases, and she's a kid, so she's still learning what these short phrases mean about, like, do what I say, not what I do. There's a phrase we do, and that's exactly what I'm talking about here. So in your workplace, you could be doing too. This is what they tell you to do, but this is not what they do. So that your life can be the same exact way. Like, you start owning your life. It's your life to design. It's exactly your life to design. Nobody tells you what to do. You could go work at a place. You're just exchanging time for dollars. Like, you go work somewhere for 40 hours a week. You're just exchanging your time for your dollars. And I always say, I can always get more dollars, but I can never get more time. Once it's spent, it's spent. But you could always have an opportunity to make money. So if you view your job that may or may not be aligned with what you believe now, you're just exchanging dollars for time. And then when it's time to stop doing that, then you move on to your next thing. So you can live your best life. I feel like I'm naming off a bunch of books. So that you too can do this too. You decide what you stand for and what you believe in. Watch the people's lives that you want to create your life like that, and see what they actually do, not what they actually say. And you can design your life just like that too. Education is a big one too. I mean, like, well, even me. I am a work-at-home mom. I would say a stay-at-home mom also. Like, that was a choice we made. That I stepped out of the workforce and I chose to stay home. Not necessarily the most common thing nowadays. Some days it's more challenging than others. I will let you know that, when I went to work and I had a small child, that was the easiest way to be with your child, was to send them off to childcare and go to work. That was so much easier than being with your child 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But when we chose differently, then we get a little more freedom. We get freedom to go on a trip whenever we want to. We get the freedom to go this. When everybody's going right, we can go left. When everybody's going up, we can go down and shift. So think about one area that you can shift in and see how it changes your whole wide world. Those are just a few things that did it. And that's a big one. Like, education was a big one. Like, Ellie's education will be totally different than my education. And I went to a great school district and great schools and had great teachers. And they still have all of those things now, but that's not what we wanted as a family. We wanted to have that freedom and not be influenced by anything. We wanted to be at the front seat of our own table making the decisions of things. So that's a little bit of today about how you can make one little mindset change, and it literally changes your whole world. So take a look. This is my challenge for you guys. Go take a look at somebody's life that you like and see what their feet are doing and not what their mouth is doing. And as always, go find me on the YouTube channel. My name's Cindy Vochatzer-Murillo. It's a handful. It's a whole education thing, and you can get the whole alphabet right there, a whole educational activity. Go over to YouTube, hit the subscribe notification, so these will always live in YouTube land. So I will see you guys all later. Bye.